Morning, everyone. Hope you're awake, alert, ready to go this morning. I certainly am none of those, but I'm here anyway. Just gonna put my head down and work through it. So, was reading over the weekend. Was actually part of my Sunday school lesson. Reading in the book of Deuteronomy about when Israel sent spies into the promised land. And they sent spies. They sent 12 spies into Canaan to see what their opposition was like, basically. And they stayed there for 40 days, came back with a report on the land. And the thing that kind of stuck with me through this message was that they came back and the report was, first of all, this place was exactly like God said it was. As a matter of fact, they used his terminology. It is a land flowing with milk and honey. And it is everything that God said it was. They even brought some of the fruit back, and it was huge, bigger than any they'd ever seen. And wow, they say, man, it was good. And Caleb, one of the spies, said, let's go take this land. But the others, 10 of the 12, we know that Caleb and Joshua were good with, let's go. God said it was ours. But 10 of the 12 said, we can't go. We can't defeat these people. They said, it is a land of giants, and we feel like grasshoppers compared to them, and we will look like a grasshopper compared to them. Why is it that we, as humans, always go to the negative side of things and say, we can't do it? We believe the lies that we tell ourselves. What's funny about it is, and it's not really funny, it's quite sad, but what's funny is that we believe that God has brought us to this point in our lives, but he doesn't want to take us any further. And that's what the children of Israel believed also, obviously, based on this passage. They believed, now there was no disputing that God had brought them this far. He had parted the seas. He had fed them. He went before them everywhere they went. With the excuse me. And he was with them with the pillar of fire. He was there, and he told them when to move. But they had believed that God had brought them this far, but they didn't believe he wanted to take them any further. You can't believe part of a promise. That's the other part. Yeah. The spies came back and said, you know what? It's just like God said it was. But then they flipped it over and they said, well, we believe, hey, God proved to be true on his promise that this land was going to be great. But then they flipped right over and said, but we can't take it. Only half of God's promise was true. You know, half of God's promise is not the promise. The whole thing is the promise. Everything that he speaks is truth. And if he says it will come to pass, it will come to pass. The question is do we want it to come to pass with us, or do we want it to be with someone else? Because God's promises will be fulfilled. His promise that they would enter into the promised land was fulfilled. It just wasn't fulfilled by the people that were there. They didn't get to experience what he had for them because of two things. One, they only believed half the promise. And two, they believed their lies more than they believed God. They believed that God had brought them this far, but he wasn't going to take them any further. And I see that so many times in my own life and the lives of others. You know, God has brought me this far, but this is where he wants me to stay. He's not going to take me any further. This is good. This I'm where he wants me to be. And we believe that lie that we tell ourselves. Because while life is good, and life is good, and God is good, but God intends for us to be great. Not so that we can brag about how great we are, but so that others can see our successes and go, hey, I want what he's got. There's something different about that guy. You know, we think when our cup gets full that that's good enough. I mean, how can you be better than a full cup, right? My cup's full. Why would I need any more? But we serve a God not of full cups, but running over cups. And why is that imagery so important, that our cup runs over? As David says in Psalm 23, my cup runneth over. Well, it's important because when it runs over, other people get to participate. It's not just about me participating in God's blessings. No, it's about them overflowing and others seeing them and others feeling that blessing that I'm getting, so that they in turn give God the glory for what he's done, not only in my life but in their life, for them to realize just how much he loves them, and to realize that he's brought you this far, but he wants you to go further. We can never stop growing in our relationship with him because his love for us is infinite and perfect. So there's always more love to receive. There's always something else for him to show us. And in doing that, we stand for others to see how much he loves us, so that they can see how much he loves them. So I'm telling you today, straight up, don't believe half a promise, because that's not a promise at all. and don't believe the lies that you tell yourself. God's not done with you. God hadn't brought you as far as He's going to bring you. He wants to take you further. And He wants you to get closer so that He can love on you some more. It doesn't seem possible sometimes, but it's true. Hey, I hope you have a great day. I hope this is encouraging to you. Don't stop. Don't get to a point. That's my prayer for me too. Don't stop growing, because God always has more for us. God bless you. Have a great day.